Okay, so we write chef DSLs in recipes, right? Right, and whenever we write recipes, I might be using something like package get do action install, something like this. Okay, and basically whenever I'm doing this, I'm hard coding it over here, right? So if I have to reuse, if I pass that package name from somewhere else, can I use that block to install anything? So for example, can I use this to replace all of these statements? Yum install git. Okay, on Red Hat, I'm just writing Red Hat versions first. Okay, yum install tree. So what is that I can do now? I have to just say that package something like some stuff over here, do action and install. So basically over here I will not write git, I will not write tree, but rather I want these values to be passed from somewhere else. Yes or no? Otherwise I have to do package git once and package tree once, and tomorrow if something else pops out, I'm trying to do the same. Now if I have to basically generalize this, what is that I can do? Don't write it over here, define it as a variable, something like that, right? So let us assume that I use this. I want to define a variable. So how can I define a variable in Chef? Go to the attributes file, okay, and in the attributes file define a variable. And whenever you are defining a variable, you need to be good at Ruby hash. If you have not remembered Ruby hash, it's gone, because it will not work out that way. It's a Ruby hash what you are trying to define. So I'll be trying to tell that default of package, okay, of something like name, okay, is equal to, let us assume that in this run I want to install git. So I'll say git, okay. I'll come down over here, and rather than telling git or other stuff, I will try to access that variable, and then I'll try to tell node, because whenever you want to access this, you have to use node. And what is the definition which I have given? Package of. Next time when I'm running it, I want to change that variable. This time I'm not interested in git, I want to install tree. There is no need for me to change any recipe. I'll come down to the attributes and change the value to be. Now what happens whenever it runs for the next time? It installs tree. That's the whole concept, right? And then whenever you want to generalize, you have to do these kind of parameterization, and that is what we have done in the last class. Now are we clear? Rather than hard coding the stuff, we define whatever can change will always be an attribute, because whenever we want to change those values, there is no need for you to rewrite cookbooks. Just change the attribute values. If you think that you have multiple installations to be done, then probably you might be taking array as an input and then writing a each statement saying that for each package do installation. If I'm speaking about one, I'll define it like this. If I'm speaking about multiple, I might write it like this, okay. And then rather than using this variable directly over here, I might be writing a each statement for each stuff. Am I clear on this? Yeah, that is what we have done. We have done nothing apart from this, okay. And one more thing is this stuff, right? I've not spoken about it in Ruby. This is a special way of Ruby, and in Ruby we call this as symbol. Anything that starts with colon is a symbol. So basically what it means is writing install, or this is same. Both are same, but the memory is organized for dot in a way saying that if you want to use install again, for example, if I use one more stuff like this, they both are not using the same memory. Every time a new memory is allocated, right? But since we know that install, uninstall, these are the things which you do not require different memories at every time, because it's the same string, it's not going to change. So what we do is we go for symbols. Is an effective way of using strings, right? I can use constant also, but constant doesn't allow me to change values, whereas symbol allows me to change values. It is an effective memory allocation for the people who basically are looking at what this colon and install is. Colon and install is nothing but a single quotes install. It is a string with that value, right? Generally, it is an effective memory organization. I said, right, strings, whenever you are operating, you have to be very careful about RAM, because whenever you change the values, the memory increases, a new memory location is created. So in your program, you know that there are certain things which are not going to change. So define it as symbols so that your program will reuse that memory area for many of the other places rather than recreating it. That's the whole point. That's what a symbol is. Right. Okay. And what is this now? My voice is very low. How many of you agree to that? I've seen a couple of people basically trying to tell about it. Am I loud and clear, or am I not so loud and clear? Yeah, yeah. It is breaking. All good. Ah, it is like Telangana election situation right now. No one knows who wins. Everyone is making claims. Right? Okay. So let us try it out, and if it is breaking for majority of the people, then I'll look at it, because if it is audible to some of the people, which is good, then I think I don't have a problem over here. Yeah. Okay then. Now let us go back to our stuff. We wanted to test it locally, and yesterday I've asked you to do certain stuff with respect to installations, right? Uh, where is it? Okay, I think this was our cookbook. Yeah. The problem with writing these kind of cookbooks is every time you change something, you have to fix it. Okay, and then we had one error. Uh, if I'm not wrong, and I think whenever you write if and only if statements, I think they ask you to do this. Let us see if it is a failure or not. I have not looked into this error. I'm just okay. I'm not changing any condition. I'm just going with that. Okay. Now I want to test this. What are the different things that are possible? Chef integrates with something called as kitchen. What kitchen does is kitchen creates test environment. Okay. And once this environment is ready, kitchen creates test environment. And once this environment is ready, what you can do is you can execute your complete recipe in this, or you can write test cases around it. Okay. Test cases is ruled out because that's something which we are not doing right now. That is unit testing or behavior driven testing, which we can write. So we will be executing our recipe. That is what we do. So we want the environment to be created, and for that environment to be created, which environment do you want? We have to take the help of a file which is called as .kitchen.yml. Right? For the people who are working on Linux machines, you might have a trouble because any file that starts with dot is generally a hidden file. Now there is, if you want, you can rename that file to kitchen.yml. It can have the name of kitchen.yml or .kitchen.yml. .kitchen.yml for backward compatibility, but going forward the file's name will be changed from .kitchen.yml to the kitchen.yml. Right? Now you can use both, but by default it creates a file called as .kitchen.yml. Any file that starts with dot is hidden in Linux and Mac. Right? But in Windows you don't have that issue because you can see that file straight away. This is the file where we specify what is my test environment, and we have discussed about two popular variants over here. One is Vagrant, the other one is AWS. Okay, we try to create or define these environments in that file, and once we define that environment in this file, then we will execute very simple statements. So the first statement which we'll try to execute is, we'll try to tell that kitchen converge. Okay, What is converging? On the node, when that the convergence happens? When you execute chef client, absolutely. So it will simulate the same thing, but over in this machine it will not have chef server, or it will not go with the actual chef server, but it will go with the implementation which is called as chef 0. So what is this chef 0? Chef 0 is basically a simulated version of chef server. Okay, so what is chef server? How many nodes can I have in chef server? More than one, right? But chef 0 will not work with more than one node. It works only on one machine. Chef 0 is for doing a configuration management of only one machine. We have chef 0 and we have something called as chef solo. Chef 0 operates in memory, and chef solo requires too much of I will not say too much of installation, but it requires some sort of installation. So you can use any one of this, whether you are speaking about chef 0 or whether you are speaking about something called as chef solo. These are the products which will simulate chef server on one machine. You can think of it as chef server doing its activity on the same machine. That's what chef 0 is. And this is very important because these days people don't buy chef licenses because they are integrating with Terraform. And when they integrate with Terraform, individual machine provisioning happens. And when the individual machine provisioning happens, we use either chef 0 or chef solo, which is single machine chef servers. That's the whole idea. So this kitchen will leap us forward into the Terraform when we speak about chef provisioning in Terraform, right? Just like how kitchen is going to do the stuff, we are even in Terraform, the same thing happens. So am I clear on this? Right? So you are simulating as if you have added a node, bootstrapped a node, and then your node is ready. It can speak with server, and then you execute chef client. That's what we do generally. But when you do kitchen converge, the same thing happens. But they are all simulated, right? Server is in the same machine, and node is also the same machine. That's how the simulation happens. But remember, this is a test environment, so it's okay. We are just checking whether our cookbook works or not. My intention is not to deploy here. Check it. So it works absolutely fine. Okay. But here we have some tricky challenges over here. Okay. So if you speak with Vagrant, if you want to speak with Vagrant, if you are working on VirtualBox, things are quite straightforward. But unfortunately, if you are working on Windows 10 and if you have more than a Pro edition, then you have to use Hyper-V, and Hyper-V needs some additional settings. Okay. Similarly, AWS needs some sort of additional settings. So let us start with Vagrant, and one more example I'll do with AWS. I don't want to do one of the stuff, but I'll be doing Vagrant plus Hyper-V combination. Am I clear? So for any of this, you have to refer documentation. There is no other way. Why it is like this? That is because that is how it is designed. There is no other way. But if you go to any other configuration management tool, we don't have a utility like this which can test on its own. Ansible doesn't have kitchen, right? But Chef has it. So we should know about it, what kitchen is all about. So what I'll do is test kitchen. So whenever you are having some time, spend the time on this website. Okay, just click on get started and follow there will be some steps over here. Okay, so we are not doing this writing test, verifying the test, and kitchen test. Apart from that, you can look into all of that, because for you to write that, you should be better than what you are in Ruby today, because you need to understand behavior driven testing. But if you are from dev backgrounds, I would tell you that that's a better way to do it, right? But I don't assume many of the people are from that background, so I'm skipping that aspect. All right, but if you write that, wonderful. Nothing like that. I use that personally. I'm not trying to tell in the classroom, because మొన్న చెప్పిన క్లాసు 2 రోజులు సెలవులు ఇచ్చి మళ్ళీ వస్తేనే అందరు మొక్కల్లో దయ్యాలు కనపడి నిన్న. I didn't have time to speak about it. So it depends on how you accept the content rather than me delivering the content. So You say that we are comfortable with all of that. I don't have a problem speaking about it, but finish whatever you have done. And to my knowledge, 90% of this class is not even giving a damn about practice, and that is fact, whether you like it or not. మిమ్మల్ని మీరే అడగండి ఎంత ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తున్నారు, right? And even in the lab, for the people who are practicing, we start with chef, we end with KCR. What is that chef has to do with Telangana CM? Nothing. That's what is happening, right? ఓ పని చేయండి, 2 గంటలు షెఫ్ చేసుకుని 2 గంటలు రాజకీయాలు మాట్లాడుకోండి. యూ హ్యావ్ అ డిఫైన్డ్ టైమ్ లైన్. దర్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ రాంగ్. ఓకే, ఆర్ మూవీస్, ఎనీథింగ్. ఓకే, so I would recommend you to go through this because it explains you how to write the stuff. And if you look at this file, this is the file which is of very much important and need of the hour right now. Okay, so if you see over here in kitchen, you can write file kitchen.yml or .kitchen.yml, but chef generates a file called as .kitchen.yml by default. Okay, now it will have the following sections. Driver, it will tell you what is that where is that your test environment is going to be. If you have installed Vagrant on your machine, your driver's name will be Vagrant. And then provisioner, as I said, who does this activity? Chef 0 is doing this activity, right? Verifier, inspect, it is for test executions. We are not interested in that, but let us still write it because it is there. And then what are the platforms where you want to test this? Yeah, and then what is your test suite? Run list, are you seeing? So for this machine, what will be your run list? That is what he's trying to do. So am I clear on this? Yeah, so we will be dealing with the same file, but fortunately that file is already created for us. If you go into .kitchen.yml, you have all of this. The default file is designed to work with Vagrant. If you are working with Vagrant, there is no need for a single line of change, and on a VirtualBox environment, it's wonderful, right? But what it will do is it will call, see and look at the run list. Run list is for calling which file? So it will call this default.rb, and over here you have these calls. So directly go into the command line and executing kitchen converge will be enough. So what it will do is it will create a virtual environment, right? And here how many platforms do we have? Ubuntu and CentOS 7. So it will try to create 2. If you don't want to, you can try one after the other. Just comment one platform. Okay, fine. And basically this is a generic structure, but what does this platform create? What are the other things which I need to pass? What are the additional information which I need to give? For that, you need to always refer the additional documentation around it. So test kitchen Vagrant, and get into this driver, and you will have a documentation around it. Come down, and he tries to tell that, okay, I support the following hypervisors. I support VirtualBox, I support VMware, I support Parallels Desktop, and I support Hyper-V. Am I clear on this? Right. And installation, we don't need to install it because when you install ChefDK, this is already installed. If you have not installed ChefDK and if you want to make this run, then you have to do that stuff. So for us, that stuff is not required. Okay. Now if you come over here, are you seeing the platforms? So you are seeing platforms Ubuntu 16.04 and CentOS 16.04 and FreeBSD 6.11. Okay. So what are these things are? These are the operating systems which you want to run your stuff on. And whenever you select that, what happens is Test Kitchen has an organization called as Bento. So these are the boxes which you can create. So you have Fedora, you have 18, all right? And whenever you say Ubuntu 18, actually this is what is being created. This is you can think of it as a virtual machine's image as of now. As of now, just think of it as a virtual machine image, because very soon we'll understand what a box is. All right. So if you see over here, yeah, he supports Hyper-V, he supports all of that stuff. Okay. So which is good. Whenever you are trying to tell Ubuntu, what does it create? It creates Bento/Ubuntu 16. But when we learn Vagrant, there are some other boxes also which you can give. right? There is no need for you to go with these boxes. So in that cases, you can give driver, box, and name of your box. Tomorrow your company might have your own box. In that case, you can give that stuff, right? So presently, let us not worry, focus too much on box area, but let us focus too much on the other areas. Scroll down. He says, if you are working on Hyper-V, I have some special conditions for you. Not on the other versions, but if you are working on Hyper-V, right? What is Hyper-V? Hyper-V is virtualizer for Windows 10. And if you are using more than Pro Edition, you can use Hyper-V in your laptop itself. For example, in my laptop, I have something called as Hyper-V because I have Windows 10 Pro Edition and I can create virtual machines from here itself. If you are seeing, there are Windows servers and Windows Hyper-V. So I can create virtual machines using this. If you don't belong to that, you are safe in Chef because you don't need to do all of this nonsense. You can directly start your activity with kitchen, create, and the things start working. Okay, which is good. Now I need to, what are the setups? As in Hyper-V, or Hyper-V is an exclusive hypervisor, and it is recommended that you have Vagrant default provider to be set to Hyper-V. Okay, so how can I set these environmental variables? One is I can use PowerShell. The other one is I right click on this. I would say properties, advanced system settings, environmental variables. Okay. Do I need to create? Let me create user variables. It's okay. And I will call it as Hyper-V. You better follow the documentation over here because if you change the names, submit hyper hyphen V and all of that, things might not work. So we have created the first stuff. And then basically, if no network configuration is provided, we need to check kitchen Hyper-V switch. Okay. Let me tell you what that is. So if you are working on VirtualBox, you need not worry about how your networking works. But if you are working in Hyper-V, you have to always worry about what is your networking, because if you are using something called as virtual switch manager over here, right? So this is your virtual switch. What happens over here is this virtual switch is something which provides network to your virtual machine. Now you have to tell out of all of this, what is the virtual switch you want to use? Yeah. So you have three configurations over here: external, internal, and private. External means you will be getting the same network as what your laptop gets. So for example, your laptop is connected to some Wi-Fi router. So what you're trying to tell is, I want to create my virtual machine as if it is on the same network as your Wi-Fi machine, as your Wi-Fi router. That's external. Internal is a connection between your laptop and your virtual machines, not for outside, right? And then the third option is private, which means no connection, only the virtual machine will be created, right? You will definitely not use private. You have to either go with internal or you have to go with external. And there are some switches already over here. You can go with them, or if you want, you can just say that I want to create a new virtual switch, and you have to just select these options, give some names. So I'm going with Vagrant already because it is an external connection, right? And as of now, it is using Ethernet connection. But remember, if you are using Wi-Fi at home and your network is received from Wi-Fi, select the Wi-Fi router because your network is received by Wi-Fi, not by Ethernet connection. Am I clear on this? So if I unplug my Wi-Fi, my virtual machine also will not unplug my Ethernet cable. My virtual machine also will not get network because the driver which is giving me the network in that case is wireless. So that's how it works. So these are the things which are special about Hyper-V when compared to all other stuffs. In case of VirtualBox or VMware, we don't need to do these settings. You just create, it will pick up a internal network automatically and the things start working. But here it is explicit. So what is trying to tell us is, now you have to create an environmental variable called as kitchen Hyper-V switch and give the name of the switch. So shall we do that now? So I'll be creating a new variable which is kitchen Hyper-V switch, and the name of it which I have written is the switch's name. Okay, good. It is not done yet. Okay, and then whenever you are writing driver, please try to write these things. Okay, so I'll go over here. We have a driver over here, right? and my bridges. Simple. Yeah, these are the additional things, and apart from that I don't think so you would require any other stuff, but let us see. Okay, we have changed the environmental variables, so these environmental variables will not be visible on the existing PowerShell or the existing command line prompts. So once you change the environmental variables, then better restart the new terminals, because terminals are not, or the values are not going to load automatically. If it is in Linux, that might work, but it doesn't work in Windows that way. Okay, so what we do is we go ahead. Okay, so this is a PowerShell command to print those variables. And what was the other thing? Vagrant default provider, right? Yeah, so if you want to check your environmental variables, you have to use this in PowerShell, or else go to your command prompt and then say set k or set v or set k. So it will try to show all the environmental variables whose name starts with k, whose name starts with a. You can use any one of these approach. Since DOS prompt is going to die very soon, I would recommend this, because here you get tabs also. For example, if you want to see what is the path $env/, you can use tab. There is no need for you to type the complete variable. Okay, so I find this one better than the other one, but that is your personal choice. Okay, right, so we have the stuff. Now what is that we need to go do is we need to get into this folder. Let me finish this and I'll take questions, right? Because we have to reiterate this 2 or 3 times. I'm quite sure that for some of you people there will be some trouble in doing it. We will do it for more than one or more than two cookbooks, then you will be able to understand what it is. I don't expect you to understand all of this in the first run. Okay, fine. Okay, so the first command which I want you to execute is, okay, kitchen list. These things take time. You have to be patient to set it up, because once they set it up, they give you more value add, because there is no need for you to upload cookbooks now and upload unnecessary versions. Only if they are working in all the possible environments which you want to basically create your chef cookbook on, then only you will try to upload the cookbook. So every version in your cookbook is actually a working version when you do this. When you don't do this, you might have some versions which don't work. Okay, he's trying to tell that, okay, you have the following stuff. You are creating two virtual machines. One is Ubuntu, the other one is CentOS 7. So what I'll do right now is, let us do one after the other. Let us not do a big bang stuff in the beginning. I want to start with anything that starts with hash is a comment, right? And after that, execute the same command again. I want to create it one after the other. When we have Hyper-V installed, then why Oracle VirtualBox doesn't exist? Because in Windows, only one hypervisor can be active. If you have Hyper-V enabled, you cannot have VirtualBox installed. That's not how Windows works. Or to my knowledge, even Linux doesn't support having more than one virtualizer, right? So generally they work with one. Fine. Now we have this, and now I'll be executing my first command, which is kitchen converge. Right? What does this kitchen converge do is, right? It will try to see whether your virtual machine platform is ready, and if it is ready, basically it will try to execute whatever you have asked in the run list, right? And whenever you are doing this, let me also put, I want to put the log level to something called as debug, because you'll get extensive information of what is happening on that machine. If someone asks how kitchen works, if you read through all the logs, that's how kitchen is working. Are you saying it is trying to create some Hyper-V machine? It takes time, so let me look at questions. Yeah. How can I test it on Windows? Windows 7, your life is very simple. Install VirtualBox. No need to go with that environmental variable. That's what I have said. If you are on Windows 10 Pro Edition, you need to work on Hyper-V. But if you are not that, you can install VirtualBox and you don't need to add those environmental variables. You can directly execute the command, which is kitchen converge. But before that, if you have followed yesterday's class, I would expect you to install VirtualBox. I would expect you to install Vagrant before you start all of this activity. Yeah. Now this will take time, guys. It is not the straightforward one. Yeah, it takes time. But if you see, do I need to bootstrap now while I'm developing? No. I just go to the kitchen. I'll see what are the platforms where I'm writing this cookbook for, whether it is Ubuntu, whether it is Red Hat, or whatever it is, and then I'll try to give those boxes names and I try to work on that straight away. That's how the things work, right? Now let us see what is happening. Good. But unfortunately, network is something that is nonsense in this. Yeah. Ensure you have a decent configuration whenever you are running on this, right? Because the problem is uh, the things don't work. If I'm trying to do the same thing on a 4 GB machine with Windows 10 installed, it might not be this smooth. All right. So for the people who have less GB machines, you have to rely on doing the driver, which is AWS. So rather than creating something on your machine, it will try to create something in AWS. That's the second option which you are going to look at. Yeah. So I think we are good because it has logged in into Vagrant, if I'm not wrong. So the virtual machine is created. Now it is trying to do the chef activity. Now what happens in this machine is it will try to install Chef 0, and along with Chef 0 it will get Chef client. If you see, it is installing some Chef softwares, and then it will try to add your run list to the Chef server or to that machine, and then it will execute. If you see, it is starting Chef client now, and this is where we have our lamp stack cookbook of 0.1.3. This was the same thing that used to happen yesterday on the node where we have bootstrapped. We are simulating the same thing on my local machine. If it is failing, wonderful, because I know all the failures in my local machine itself. I can correct those failures. I will do converge. Only when it is working, then I'll go to the other. Then I'll go and upload the stuff to the server. Since it is your machine, apt-get update might take more time because it is using your local network. That's how the things are. All right. So, for example, if you have written a cookbook for 16 and the recently if you have seen 18 has come up, and if you want to check whether it works on 18 or not, it is not a good idea to create a server, bootstrap, and all of that. You go to here and change your platform to 1804 and re-execute your cookbook and see what works and what fails, and then give your fixes around that, because there is no need. See if everything is working. Okay. And now the one thing, once I work on this, I will log in into this machine and see whether everything is working, everything is installed or not, and then I will remove this machine. I'll try to do the same thing on a CentOS box, so that I'll try to see whether it works on Red Hat variants or not. Done. It says it is done. So now let me go into this machine, and if you see over here, there should be some. Okay. 192.168.0.90. So 192.168.0.90. Okay. And slash info dot. Did we got it? This is what we have written our cookbook for, right? And it is working. Right. Now I want to log in into these machines. There are two ways. One is you can do the normal SSH. And the username, default username of that machine is Vagrant, and password of that machine is Vagrant. SSH Vagrant at the rate 192.168.0.90, and then log in into this machine. Or kitchen knows some stuff about your usernames and passwords. You can say kitchen login, and then you have to give the platform name. If you have only one platform, you need not worry, right? As of now, we have only one platform, so there is no need for me to give the name. If you say kitchen login, it will identify that there is only one machine. Okay, let me log in into that. If it is not working on PowerShell, we have to do this activity on Git Bash. That's the only thing. That's the only failure which we had in the previous versions. But let us see whether it works in PowerShell or not. Is this a better option now? I developed the cookbook. I test it locally. Yeah. This is not being fixed from ages. Fine. So open Git Bash. Only the kitchen login part. Try to do it from here. Are we inside this machine? Yes. And then sudo service Apache 2 status. Okay. And You can execute any command to verify whether the stuff has been done or not. Cat, I think we have created a file called as what. So this is what we have written, right? So you are verifying that everything is doing good. Okay. And then once you have done that, I have done with this virtual machine. I don't want it anymore. So what you will do is you will try to tell that kitchen destroy. All right. That is one thing. Destroy will remove the virtual machine. Or when you have this, and let us assume that you have made some changes to your cookbook. Now you go into apache.rb. Okay. And then let us assume that you are making some change. What is that change? What shall I do? Okay, let us assume that I want to install Git in both the machines for some reason. So I'll just say package Git. I'll remove this because it has nothing to do with LAMP. We have made some change. Now you want to verify whether this change will happen on that machine or not. There is no need for you to do anything. Just tell the same command which you have used at the first place. Kitchen converge, because you have changed the cookbook and you are trying to converge the resources right now. Just click on kitchen converge. Whenever you make changes, kitchen converge. Whenever you are done with changes, kitchen destroy. Because you know that this is working, everything is good. Now I have to try something else. Right? Now if you try to see, it has to do only Git installation now. Am I clear? Changing the cookbook, kitchen converge. There is no need for you to destroy and converge. Not required all the time. Right? So am I clear on this? At least we got the overall picture of what is that we are going to do in Chef right now. We will not upload it to the Chef server every time. We will not change the versions every time. We will basically use this test kitchen. We will execute this on all the platforms which it has to support. And then when everything is working in these environments, then we try to upload it to the Chef server, because then you will always have the versions which work. Now you will never make a mistake of sending a version, because you have an option to test. If you have some version which is not working, that is completely your blender now. Now if you see, it has done Git installation. Yes? Is it simple now? Yeah? Okay. So once you have done with your work, kitchen, destroy. Destroy will remove the virtual machine, whatever it has created. Yeah. Don't execute kitchen create command. Okay. If you are executing, there is no problem with executing. If you are executing kitchen create command, what it does is it creates a file called as kitchen.yml. Right? So if you want to work on kitchen.yml, not .kitchen.yml, then you can execute kitchen create. Otherwise, there is no need for you to do with that kitchen create stuff. Right? Actually, create is supposed to create a virtual machine. But even if you do converge, the same thing happens. If the virtual machine is not created already, it will create it. Is it done? Yes. Are you seeing the same virtual machine again here? So we had something called as default Ubuntu 16.04. But are you seeing the same thing now? No. Because whatever it has created, it has deleted. So now let us try to do it on CentOS. So I'll change kitchen.yml. Okay. Let us see whether our cookbook works in CentOS or not. So what is the command again? Just to do kitchen list first, so that it will you will know what are the platforms which you are trying to build. And once you do this kitchen list, then you have to do kitchen create. Kitchen list, kitchen converge, kitchen destroy. These are the three major commands. But apart from that, kitchen has commands as kitchen test, right? So it is creating CentOS 7. So what I'll do is kitchen. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to run this cookbook on a CentOS 7 box. Right? If I have to work it on 6, I might be using CentOS 6, Fedora 6, whatever platforms that are supported over here. So for example, we have opened this Bento, right? Or where was that? I think this one. Yes. So you can use any of these platforms, right? So for example, you starting from OpenSUSE, Fedora, Debian, FreeBSD, Oracle, you go ahead and you can use any of this, right? At least while you're trying it right now. Okay. When we learn Vagrant, you can use your own boxes also, right? But for the people who know Vagrant, I think you are understanding what I'm trying to tell already. But for the people who don't know Vagrant, we'll be doing all of these activities. So these are all the boxes which you can use. So you have all the Linux platforms covered over here, right? You might not have a box for Windows because Windows boxes are not free, right? Because Windows is a licensed server. Am I clear on this? Yeah. So before I take questions, let us re-understand the steps. So what is that we will be doing? We will be doing a cookbook development, right? And whenever I'm doing cookbook development, it is essential for me to test whether the things are working or not. Yes or no? So one way for that is you upload the changes to server and test on nodes. But this activity is not so good whenever, because we are speaking about dev environments. We are not speaking about test environments. We are not speaking about why do I want a chef server for something which is that simple. So for that, what we do is the second approach which we take is we go with kitchen. And whenever we go with kitchen, we have to deal with a file which is called as .kitchen.yml or kitchen.yml. Anything is fine. But by default, you will have this file name. In this, the first thing which speaks about is driver. Driver will tell where is that you want to create this test environment, right? So in the current case, I have used something called as Vagrant, and my provider was Hyper-V. So I had to do some extra steps of creating environmental variables. If your provider is VirtualBox, you need not do any extra step. You have to just say kitchen converge, right? So, and then what is that we have tried to do? We have tried to execute a command which is kitchen list, which will tell us the platforms where your kitchen is going to test. Once we are done with this, we will execute the command kitchen converge, right? And whenever you are trying to do kitchen converge, I would recommend you to do this one also, -l debug if it is failing. If it is not failing, it's fine. Whenever some converge is failing, just execute with -l debug, because this will give you logs, right? And all of the logs which are created in kitchen, are you seeing a folder called as .kitchen over here, right? So these are the places where you can see the logs. This was the last machine which we have destroyed, and this is a kitchen log. All right, default CentOS 7 log. What is happening on the background? It will try to give all of the stuff. And whenever something is failing, the basic best practice is kitchen converge -l debug, so that you will come to know each and every step of what it has done and also where it has failed. Am I clear on this workflow? Yeah. So now if you integrate this with what we are supposed to do on Chef, we will go to the Linux, we will try to find out the manual steps, we will execute the manual steps, we will write the cookbook, we will create a test kitchen, and then we will do this activity. So you are making your work false proof. That's the whole idea. So am I clear on this? Yeah. Now let me take your questions. Understood this? Any doubts on this? Which one? Upload 2, right? What is from here? Is it? We are working on workstation, sir. Workstation is where you already have the code. So you'll be doing the uploading. You'll not never do download. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. If you have multiple machines in what do you say? Let me start from the. I mean kitchen test in Windows. I mean Windows box. Yeah. Windows boxes, you have to make your own boxes. No one will give you Windows box for free because it is a licensed software and no one wants to get license infringement and all of that stuff from Microsoft, right? So for that, if you are working on Windows, better do it on Azure or AWS, because that's the place where it is meant to be, not on Vagrant, right? So Windows means you are paying something. Nothing is free there. All right, that's how it works. Right. And if you have multiple Vagrant, will Vagrant create Windows machines? It will create any virtual machine for that matter. The only thing is you need to have the right box. And Windows boxes are not something which people will give away for free because those are licensed products. Right. Okay. If you have multiple machines in which our cookbook will be executed, then we run kitchen kernel, then it will create multiple environments. So for example, over here, initially I had platforms, CentOS and Ubuntu. If I uncomment that, what it happens is kitchen will try to create two environments now, one Ubuntu and one CentOS. So there is no need for you to do this sequentially. I am doing this sequentially because it works out for you. You don't want to solve all the problems at one shot. Let us solve it one after the other. If the thing is working in Ubuntu, then we'll search in CentOS 7. When those two things are working and you know that everything is working, then you can work on creating multiple things at a time. Right? So that's how I want it to be. So that's why I'm not trying multiple platforms. But you can try multiple platforms. You can set concurrency levels. You can set all of that stuff. How to create VM in Hyper-V normally without kitchen? Google. Ask Google, because my class is not about Hyper-V over here. Okay. Can you summarize in Ubuntu? Just show how to bootstrap Windows. I'll do that. I'll do that at the last. Those are not the important things for me, because in bootstrap I have to speak about WinRM. But let us don't get into the operating system topics, because we are learning Chef over here. So for example, in Windows, if I'm working on, or in Linux, if I'm working on, SSH port is required, right? So in Windows, if I have to do, I have to open the WinRM port. And for WinRM to work, there are special conditions over there. I don't want to bring in those conditions before Chef. Let us understand Chef, let us do Chef, and then apply Chef to the Windows. That's how I want to take it. I don't want to bring in this administrative concepts in between, because here, if you understand it or not correctly, you are doing development. Because you are writing some dev activity. If you are writing cookbooks, you are testing the cookbooks locally using kitchen. So let us continue this flow rather than abstracting ourselves with administrative concepts. All right. Okay. Okay then. So let us see what is happening. So it has failed. Wonderful. So what it says is there is some undefined method for some class, and it tries to give us an error saying that this is something which is failing. Okay. Yeah. So we have a failure. So if you see our cookbook, which is supposed to work on Red Hat and Ubuntu, is seeing some strange failure. Okay. So let us start our next class from this point and see what is this failure and how to fix this failure. Right. And how to do the exact same thing on cloud. I don't want to do it on the same Linux machine. I want to do it on AWS from my test kitchen. So how do I do that? So that will be in our next class. So please try to do at least one environment. I am okay with failures, right? But whenever you have failures, so for me to fix this failure, the best part would be kitchen converge -l debug, and all of your logs, as I said, will be in default CentOS 7 log. Scroll down or search for something called as error. So it says recipe compile error. Okay. It says method is not found or something like this. Okay. So this is where we'll start our discussion, and we'll see how the things proceed from now on. Am I clear? So whenever you are writing cookbook, you can find all of your errors locally in your system rather than waiting for some luck or wishing for some luck on production servers. Am I good? Okay. So is this looking good? Yeah. Understood the basic workflow now? In Chef, we have a workstation. We write cookbooks, and when we write cookbooks, I know manually how to do that stuff. And once I know manually how to do that stuff, I'll write Chef. And whatever I've written in Chef, I'll be testing that using kitchen. And when everything works, then I'll upload to the server. So before reaching to the server, we have too many things in Chef to be done. And server is the last resort. Because in server, what we do is we upload, we change the run list. Done. When we know everything is working, it will work anyway. Am I clear on this? Right? So please make a note of this workflow first. If you understand this workflow, nothing like that, because that's what it is all about. Am I clear? Yes. Thanks guys. Thanks for your time. Yeah.